You're gonna want to hear this. The following is guaranteed to knock your ears right off.
And we're back. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Liam.
How are you today?
I'm doing great, man.
Today is Monday, March 6th, 2023. Welcome to the next episode of Lounging Around.
Keeping time now?
I guess so. Well, we're recording this on this date. The date it comes out will probably be not then.
Way later, right?
Yeah, way later. Probably like a week. But we have guests tonight. We have Jack.
Hello, I'm glad to be back. Had a lot of fun last time.
Jack was here last time. And then we have our research guy, Joe, on mic tonight.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Joe's back. Jack's back. And sadly, Matt's back.
Yeah, I'd actually stop my league match in order to get here today.
Womp womp.
Well, I'm glad you stopped your league match for this because it's more important.
Well, then, what are we going to be talking about today?
Yeah, we're talking about senses. So we're going to talk about... So we're first going to talk about when we get back from our break. We usually do it always after the intro. We're going to talk about senses, like the 5 core senses. Touch, hearing, smell, sight, and taste. And then we're going to talk about umami. And then we're going to talk about why certain people hate certain things from senses. And we're going to talk about music. And then after that, we're going to talk about people that believe in senses that are very outlandish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Idiots, basically.
So basically, this is going to be a good segment for Matt. And then at the end, we're going to talk about Jedis from Star Wars.
It'll all be connected, right?
Yeah. It all have some sort of connection to the core conversation senses.
Hey, man, it sounds good to me.
It might be a little far-fetched, some of it, but it's going to be all the same. Any questions about what we're talking about?
I hope not. We were all here.
Okay.
We went over all this.
Did we? Okay, that's good. Until then, though, please enjoy 1979 by the Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, I love that song.
Nice. Impressive pick.
Nice song.
I hate you.
Hey.
I mean, hi, Matt.
Really?
What?
Wait.
What?
Both of my ears are working now. Not my ears, my headphones.
Speaking of senses,
Speaking of senses.
Oh.
And you messed it up again.
No, it's great.
Okay. Sure?
Yeah.
You can hear?
Yeah.
Both sides?
Yeah.
Great.
Amazing.
Grow.
Nice.
All right.
All right, just get into it.
Okay, so we're going to start. So we're talking about the 5 senses. We're going to start off with going over the 5 senses and kind of sub-senses in those 5 senses. Jack is here to help explain the sub-senses.
Yep.
Yep.
I'll try. So, what senses would you like me to go over?
So I'm going to just name all the 5 senses off the bat, and then I guess
Sure.
we'll kind of break them down from there.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yep.
So all 5 senses are touch, hear, see, smell, and taste.
Sight, hearing, see. Yeah, I just gotta correct you there.
Okay. Okay, Matt.
great talk.
Thanks for correcting me, man. Okay,
Big
so
difference.
all right. So what are some sub-senses for hearing? If there's any.
Well, hearing is dependent on the vibrational waves that come into our
Mhm.
ear, which then cause the fluid in our eustachian tubes to move around, and it bounces. It actually goes to the tympanic membrane, what
Mhm.
we call our eardrum, right? And
Mhm.
that stimulates neurons and sends action potentials to our auditory cortex, which allows us to process what we hear and decipher it and connect it to what we know it might be, or if we're afraid, if we should be, if it's a gunshot or something, whether to react,
Yeah.
in a way that to protect us or to run, whatever.
Mm-hmm. What about touch? Because I know Matt said like something about magnetic fields before.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of our touch operates through things like magnetic fields.
Mhm.
On our skin cells, we have neurons at the surface that have ion channels, which are sensitive to mechanical stress. So if you push on them, they open up and allow ions to rush into the neurons, thus transferring action potentials and activating those neurons. We can feel.
Yeah.
That's how we feel things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of relates to something we might want to talk about later with some of the more out there senses that people claim.
Yeah.
But we could go down to another basic sense if you like.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's not a lot to talk about, like, the subsenses, and so we could kind of get in later. But, like, with certain senses, like, people say, like, there's senses of balance, there's movement, there's the sense of magnetic fields, there's, like, all the pressure. Like, a lot of it, I feel like, associates with, like, touch and move. Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of those can tie back into the senses that were already, like, the classical senses.
Mm-hmm.
But the pressure one's interesting because we actually do have neurons that have, like, baroreceptors, which can sense pressure in the blood. So that's very interesting. But, I mean, then it's like, to what extent
is that why I feel like I have a heart attack, like, every day?
You gotta get that checked out.
Oh,
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
Like, one of my, like, a point I was thinking about was a lot of that is a lot of the interoceptive stuff, feeling your heart rate and stuff. A lot of it is touch, right? Because you're feeling parts of your body just touching each other.
In your opinion, everyone, I guess, what? Did I interrupt you?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're okay.
Okay.
You just go on.
In your opinion, guys, like, what do you think is the strongest sense out of all five? Like, what do you think is most useful?
Well, we have the most neural real estate devoted to vision.
Mm-hmm.
We're visual creatures.
So you say vision,
Probably touch,
touch.
so that you can hit people. I don't know if you like. And pain,
Just so you'd use it for violence.
yeah, like pain hurts people, man. I don't think sight hurts people. You know.
I like how you're like, yeah, I think it's touch because when you hurt people, yeah.
They get hurt, man.
That's a good point, Matt. Good
It's a
point.
utilitarian argument.
Yeah.
Joe.
I was going to say smell because
Smell.
I was reading up on this a few weeks ago. Smell is very linked to kind of memory. So if you smell something, you know how it kind of takes you back to a memory that you have of that first smell or like a main smelling event.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just thinking about that, how smell is just really important.
I think sight, like Jack, is important because we have to see a lot of things. Because if you lose your hearing, that's one thing. You could still see where you're going, moving around. But like if you have no sight, it's kind of harder to move around, basically.
All you guys with your sight, like I'll just punch you, dude.
Okay.
Like, what are you gonna do? I'm stronger.
All right, Matt.
You
All right.
said, what's the strongest sense? You know.
You turned the question to what sense would win in a fight?
Yeah, I guess touch.
What's the worst sense or like the weakest sense? I guess.
Like one that we can live without.
Yeah. In your opinion, like what would one that you personally would want to live without? I guess.
I don't know. We have deaf people, and
So hearing.
Such an easy one. Come on,
wait. What do you mean?
So
dude. It's the scent, like smell.
Smell.
Would
I
you
don't
rather
know
be
about that one.
deaf, blind, can't feel anything, or you can't
taste
smell?
anything?
Can't taste or smell though.
Yeah, I'd probably take away taste. I
so
hate taste.
so
Yeah,
you're changing
taste
your
and
answer
smell.
from hearing to taste.
Yeah.
You're going with smell, Jack,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
Joe. You're going with.
Taste any day of the week. I'd rather be able to
I agree.
smell.
Taste because recently they have come out with another taste, which I think is
It's not recent.
baloney.
It's
It
not recent.
is crazy. I don't know who
It's
put
still not recent.
people in this lab to make this whole thing up, but it's crazy. It's insane. It shouldn't be real. Umami is the newest taste.
It's not new. It's been around for like years.
It's new to me,
Like,
so it's
The
new.
newest update dropped.
My bad,
Yeah,
dude.
I use Instagram.
For your
News.
information.
Yeah, so a lot is delayed, man. You know this.
I learned about this in like 8th grade.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just heard about this now.
Yeah,
So it's all new. And I guarantee it's new for people too that are hearing this. Umami, it is. It's not real. I don't. It's so stupid. Like
Can you steelman umami?
so,
Explain to me what it is.
umami. So you have four tastes. You have bitter, sweet, sour, and what was the other one?
Spicy.
Spicy.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I don't think it's spicy. Joe?
Let me do the Google thing.
Can we get a fact check?
You're done.
It's not spicy. I would want it to be spicy. I know it's not spicy. I wish they made a fifth one spicy because that
guys.
makes more sense.
You ready?
Yeah.
Salt, sweet, bitter, sour, and umami.
Okay, so it's salt. So it's salt, sweet, sour, and bitter. Not spicy.
Yeah.
You science guy.
You forgot about
Who
umami.
are you? Yeah, I don't count that one. I count umami as the fifth. I mean, spicy as the fifth
All
one.
right, so what is umami?
So umami is the flavor of savory and beef and stew. Basically, whatever it's like in the, like, most people can agree, like when they eat something afterwards, it's like kind of caught in their throat. They can still taste it later on, like when you burp and all that. And basically, it's like right here in your throat, and you can taste it later on. And that's what people are saying is like the fifth, like, taste, which I think is ridiculous.
I mean, the description sounds more like a feeling, right?
Yes.
Well, taste is like is basically touch, right? I mean,
Like touching of your tongue
right?
on
That's a
something.
strong man. No, because taste, we have like gustatory receptors that are like that bind to different chemicals. You know what I mean? It's like chemoreceptors. You know what I mean? It's not like mechanoreceptors like we have on our skin. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. Do
Yeah,
you?
true.
So are you all umami believers here?
I mean, it has a unique, like chemoreceptor, like I was just talking about it. So I mean, it is, you know.
Hashtag take down umami.
Isn't umami the one that you have like down there too?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to talk about that on air?
I don't think we can.
About
I can.
anatomy?
Yeah,
don't see
I
why
mean
not.
your balls. We could say
Yeah.
balls. I mean,
So I mean, yeah, we do have umami receptors on the scrotum, but I don't think there is enough to be able to taste soy sauce as a few have
as a
attempted.
few boys have tried.
Can't wait to try
the-
that out at the dining
Okay.
hall.
A few freelance scientists have attempted.
Freelance.
I'm just trying to taste it. Man.
Okay.
Just leave me alone.
Guys, don't try to taste it with your balls. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think that's. I don't believe in it. I think it's like, for me, it's like meat is kind of like, I don't even know how you meat, like what
I mean,
taste meat would be. It's
Yeah,
like,
you describe it as like umami, right?
no.
It's not like
I would
sweet,
say
sour,
meat.
bitter, salty.
I would say salty and bitter.
Oh yeah, what if there's no salt on it? And what if it's not
Then
bitter?
it's just bitter.
What if
It's
it's
still
not?
salty.
Then it's just sweet.
What if it's like savory?
Then it's just salt. Then it's just spicy.
Dude, I had some bone broth before this. It was definitely umami.
Look, I'm gonna
was
believe
not-
that. I'm gonna believe that.
Umami-esque in nature.
Umami is
definitely.
not a flavor. It's just not. It's not like the location of it is the one thing I have a problem with. There's no way there's like it's in your throat. Like that just makes no
Yeah,
sense
but like,
to
who
me.
said that?
I don't know, Joe.
Who said what?
Research it. Who was the guy that came up with umami?
I'm done.
Well, they're on the tongue. You know what I mean? It's not just the throat. Like we have, I assume we have umami receptors on our tongue. I mean, I could be wrong, but like that is how we taste things.
Look, I'm gonna believe the experts. You know, I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's not a real thing.
Okay,
all
well, flat
arbitrary.
earther over there. Why didn't you believe them about the sphere?
Well, they just lie, and it's
All right.
annoying.
Well, that's a
and-
different episode, so we're gonna move on.
Do you guys want to talk? The umami was discovered by Kikune Ikeda in 1908.
Okay, Kikunu
Not new.
Ukeda. We're taking away your doctorate and your everything because you don't know science. man.
Us
They just
kids at
posted on
Eastern.
Instagram about it though.
Wait, what?
They just posted on Instagram about it though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why we're a little bit late.
Yeah.
So apparently that dude found it, but then scientists later in 2002 were like, "Oh yeah, this is legit."
No.
So it must have just come to the guy in a dream.
What do you mean no? He just said it did happen.
Scientists said so.
All right, we're moving on. You're all,
This guy just ate a piece of
you're
meat.
all
He's like,
wrong. You're
"There's a
all
weird feeling
wrong.
in my throat."
You're all wrong. I'm right. That's it.
Can you taste? Hold on, right now. Can you taste what you had eaten
Yeah,
earlier?
I had something. I had like, you know, I'm not gonna go into it, man. I had bread.
Disproven already.
I had
You're
bread.
savory.
What do you? That's like
Just
just because I like I
You're
can
able to
still
taste
taste it afterwards.
What else
doesn't
did
mean
you
anything.
have with the bread? Something umami-esque potentially?
No,
really.
no.
Never.
I had
Why?
some
Because it-
meat.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That's just bitter.
Bitter.
Yeah.
I don't know if I describe it as bitter. It's like I feel like it's a combination of everything because you know how there's like sweet and salty, but then it's like I don't know where you get bitter from. I don't know.
I don't know. You're wrong. I'm right.
What does water taste like then?
Just water.
No.
So now I want to make a new
taste?
sense. Since we're making up senses now, I want to make plain. Plain's in the middle of your tongue, and you have just plain. Okay?
Where's your evidence for this?
All right. Well, drink a glass of water. What do you taste?
Wow.
Wouldn't plain be
Plain.
like a lack of
Absence
all
of-
of them?
Plain. Wait, what do you taste, Kiss, when you drink water?
Look, Joe, can you look this up?
Dude, no, I'm saying it's like the absence of the things
Well,
that trigger
now,
those.
so
That
now
is
there's
true.
there's 6 tastes. All right, we have bitter, sweet, salty, sour. No, not umami. I actually just 5. It just spicy and plain. Water. What does it say? No color, no taste, no smell. So it's plain. So
It just said no taste. So if
There
you
is
make a
the
taste,
absence of taste.
it depends on if you have minerals in it.
We also have receptors for like minty, right? Minty stuff for like that experience.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So it's
a
like
good one.
Yeah.
that could, I guess be considered.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on now because I'm right, you're wrong. That's it.
All right,
nice discussion, man.
good talk, guys.
Yep.
That's good talk.
Very productive.
We're gonna talk about so some of me and Kiss can experience now. Me and Kiss can experience a thing with certain types of food where if we smell it or eat it, we kind of feel sick after. So Kiskin, do you want to share what yours is?
Mine is peanut butter. One bad experience. I don't even have a bad experience with it, which is the weirdest thing. Which I mean, in psychology, how you get like these kind of like reactions to food is that you have one bad experience with it, and your body's like, oh, I don't never want to take it again. But I don't think I had a bad experience with peanut butter yet. I hate it, and I'm not allergic to it, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's soda and rainbow goldfish.
What happened with rainbow goldfish?
Not
and soda?
nothing. Like you just said, like literally nothing. I kind of looked at it and just felt weird, and then when I ate it, I felt I just felt like sick after eating it.
I also have also olive oil.
Oh
That
yeah,
one's
well
bad.
you took a shot of olive oil.
It's really bad. Don't do that, guys.
I don't know, man. In Italy, they have like olive oil tasting places. They love that stuff over there.
They put it on ice cream.
Matt, so you're never going to go to Italy.
Bet they love
They
their
love
monounsaturated fats.
They love peanut butter and olive oil. They'll
Now
go to
that it's
Italy.
on the air, you can't go now. You're just banned.
Oh,
Just
man.
banned from Italy.
Eh.
Your face is gonna be plastered all over Italy.
So what does us hating certain foods have to do with the senses?
Yeah, Matt. I mean, Jack.
Well, like you said, a lot of it is like experiences that we've had. We undergo aversive learning, right? We make negative associations with the experiences that we've had, the food that we've eaten, and the outcome, right, as a mechanism to protect us in the future.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, but some of it is also genetic. Scientists famously tracked down a single gene which was responsible, which variant a person had was responsible for whether or not they enjoyed cilantro or found it absolutely repellent. So there's some people that can't stand cilantro, and this can be tracked down to a specific variant of a specific gene. So some of it's genetic, and people might have allergies to certain things, but
Yeah,
I feel like primarily it's from bad experiences. I remember one time I got sick from Peach Wave. I don't know if you guys had that.
Oh, I
in your area.
love peach
I
wave.
like
Yeah, well,
Peach
yeah,
Wave,
you
yeah.
had
Yeah,
that. But they had whatever I had these slivered almonds on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I swear to God, I could not have slivered almonds for 3 years after that. But it's funny. It's I could eat whole almonds before I was able to have them slivered because it was just that.
Yeah,
Had
I
to
mean,
ease your way in.
for me,
Right.
it's like soda. I threw up when I had Sprite, and that's why I don't like soda. But for rainbow goldfish, nothing happened. I just, for some reason, just in my brain, just doesn't that is just something I can't do. And it's always been since I was a kid.
I don't know, man. I'm still surprised I still like soda because one time at a third grade birthday party, at Sky Zone. You know what Sky Zone is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
I like
rocket jump.
Yeah, I combined all the sodas into one soda and drank it all.
Good.
And it was over, man. It was over. Toilet me out.
Oh wow. Yeah, when I was 8, I used to get chronic migraines when I was younger, and I, on a really hot and humid summer day, was like, I'm going to finish this whole box of Cheez-Its, and then I'm going to go run around and play tag. And we were driving in the car. I think we were going to, like, the package store or something. I was like, ooh, I don't really feel so good.
Yeah.
I painted the entire side of the car door orange. And for, 3 or 4 years, I could not have Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
Love them now, though. Oh, my God.
Mm.
So I think I had a similar experience with or
Hearing.
my friend had a similar experience with barbecue potato chips.
Mm-hmm.
Similar orange color.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On some doors.
Yeah.
I can imagine that one.
It's another one, like, except for, like, taste, like, with me and Matt, there's, like, something with hearing. Like, I don't know if you guys ever had, like, those bookstore when you're in school and they had the 3D bookmarkers things and people
Mhm.
scratched
Oh,
them.
Yeah.
I can't even think about it without feeling, like, sick from hearing. Like, I can't hear it because I'll feel sick.
Like the ones where you, like, bend perspective
Yeah.
or whatever.
I can't even think about it, yeah. Like
The
that.
example I had was Velcro.
Yeah.
Whenever Velcro is like ripped around me, like I feel it in my teeth, and it's just the most uncomfortable feeling ever.
Yeah,
And I don't know
I
if it's
can't.
like it's just a certain frequency sound or something
Yeah.
that just like really doesn't do well, and my eardrum's not a huge fan of.
Yeah.
What about like nails on like a chalkboard?
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's fine for you.
That doesn't bother me. But it's just like that 3D, like, I don't know what about it. It just bothers me.
Or like ice cream when it touches your front teeth and you
That
get
doesn't bother me.
Ugh.
That's
I
fine.
hate that.
I don't know. It's weird how, like, kind of each person's senses are so, like, either, like, very active to, like, a certain thing that comes their way that activates their senses in, like, a higher manner. Like, if Matt eats peanut butter, his senses go crazy. Like, with taste, like, I'm going to feel sick, blah, blah, blah. And, like, some people just don't really, like, feel it at all.
Yeah,
And-
there's a lot of individual variation. A lot of it just comes down to.
Because there's, like, a fruit called durian.
Yep.
I don't know if you know what that is. It's, like, a fruit in mostly, like, Asia where it literally smells and tastes like, like, it smells like a dead body.
Mm.
And people eat that for, like, fun there. And it still smells like that, and they're just okay with the smell. And it's just weird. Like, those things like that. It's just how some people can just be so, like, repulsed by that smell of the fruit, or some people just love it.
Yeah, that's like an environmental cultural thing, like that you mentioned,
Yeah.
and that plays into it, and then a lot of it's genetic also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add to the census topic there, Jack? And Kiskin?
What about? So we know that there's 5 senses,
Mhm.
but do you believe in any that are not of the 5, but like in their own categories?
I have an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
We have thermoreceptors
Mm-hmm.
on certain neurons, which is like allows us to feel heat.
Yeah.
Is that touch? Is that like what would you consider that?
I don't know, man. Technically, like no molecules touch or whatever. So like, I don't think so.
Okay, Matt. So, like, you're talking about heat on the body. Is that like touch? You said
Well, would you consider that
its
sense on
own
its
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like heat doesn't like really touch you. It's kind of like it engulfs you
Yeah.
almost. I feel
yeah.
like.
Does wind touch you?
It's like energy touching the body, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So
or
it's
like
like-
within it, it's like there's the molecules are more excited.
Yeah,
They're in a
yeah.
more excited state.
So I
Yeah.
think it's just a branch off touch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's a good point. I think a lot of this can be tied down to like one of the
Mhm.
5 classical senses we talked about.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that we should. I think these 5 classical senses got to be broken down into all the other ones. Like I hate that they're just all like just standing there, like
So perfect,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
pristine.
that, it's like engulfs other senses.
Mhm.
Man, like grow up. Get some more
Ridiculous.
He's just like goes to senses like, grow up, come on.
like what kind of sense is like sensing that you need to go like to the bathroom or you're hungry?
Mhm.
What is that?
A lot of that's your blood. Like you'll get signals. Your bladder's filling up. It's like mechanical. Like you have certain ion channels that are mechanoreceptive. So when your bladder gets pushed or whatever, they'll open up, and then ions will flow into those into the axon, carrying the action potential, activating those neurons, sending a signal to your brain that's like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. So it is mechanical. It's like touch, basically. Yeah.
So basically, it's touch.
Basically touch.
I have a question for another sense. Like, is satisfaction a sense almost?
That's interesting. So the feelings of satisfaction have to do with the binding of certain molecules to certain neurons in certain areas of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that could be more, because that's more of like a concept. If we were able to
Mm-hmm.
break that down into a more physiologically quantifiable thing,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, we could track that and track it down to specific molecule and substrate interactions,
Yeah.
signaling pathways. If you're able to get it down to a specific physiological component.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I was wondering, because segueing into like the other thing, like me recently, I love music, but recently, I have like almost zero to none desire to listen to music anymore.
And so things like that motivation to do the things that we
Mm-hmm.
like to do, that's mostly driven by dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
Dopamine is a large driver of motivation and our it drives our movement, our willingness to get up and move and do things. That's why
Mm-hmm.
Diseases like Parkinson's disease like multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's involve dopaminergic neurons.
Mm-hmm.
They affect movement, but it affects motivation. It affects reward behavior. Pursuing things.
Yeah.
It's the molecule of pursuit and
Yeah.
motivation and anticipation, I would say, is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But so the way that any of these receptors work in our body is when we have a lot of dopamine blasting in our system.
Mm-hmm.
These receptors pick up on this. They're like, oh, we have a lot of this stuff. We need to down-regulate and take away some of our troops
Mm-hmm.
because we want to stay at equilibrium, and we're getting too much signal right now.
Yeah.
So we want to stay at equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're listening to music all the time, you always got headphones in, you're always listening to music, you're always, we can branch out to anything, always playing video games, whatever.
Yeah.
Over time, you will have, this is one example of how we become desensitized, but you will have less dopamine receptors to pick up the dopamine that's in your in the surrounding system. And this is how addiction develops,
Yeah.
right? This is the direct pathway to anhedonia, which is the absence of motivation or pleasure in the things that we typically enjoy doing or are motivated to do.
Yeah. So like, I have a follow-up question for all that. It's like, we have the five senses, and they all kind of involve around like a feeling and like kind of like a
All
sense.
of them are basically touch. Come on.
At the end of the day, something's touching something.
Yeah. but in actuality, like a lot of it breaks down to like molecules all the time. So like my question is kind of like, why can't there be like a sixth sense of like adrenaline or like anything like that with like a heightened sense of like adrenaline and
Well, because
like
there
stuff
is,
like that? Because like sorry, I was
no.
this was a question like because I'm thinking of like adrenaline like involves like anxiety, depression, happiness, sadness, anger. Like that's like a sense like I would assume like a sense of like a not higher up sense, but like a higher sense, a heightened sense, yeah. And I'm wondering like why isn't like emotions or like adrenaline a sense like hearing and touch and all that?
Well, they do affect our senses,
Mm-hmm.
in profound ways. I mean, when you think of adrenaline, right?
Yeah.
You get amped up. How does that work? Why do you get amped up?
Yeah.
Well, a big part of it is your heart.
Yeah.
Right? It constricts your blood vessels, right? Gets your heart pumping, right? Gets blood flowing to peripheral tissue. Cortisol, stress gets glucose freed from tissue into your bloodstream so your brain can use it.
Mm-hmm.
So these emotions have physiological underpinnings that we can use to understand what those feelings really are.
Mm-hmm.
At a molecular
and like
level.
why we have them, know. But I think we just have to look at what like defines a sense. Like, what is the definition of a sense, right? So I would assume, like stuff, it is physiological.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, anger like affects your physical mood. It affects but then it affects stress, and it raises your cortisol, and then what does that affect? And then it's like it keeps going down the line until it's like touch or something.
So would you say like adrenaline and like all these other emotions help heighten senses in other aspects or lower them in other aspects? Like, do you think they're like kind of like the escort for senses or like the boosters for senses?
Exactly. Well, what an emotion is, what a feeling is a specific milieu, a concoction of these various neurotransmitters and hormones, and they, this, mix, this recipe comes out with some magical thing that we call an emotion or a feeling, and then we try to interpret it. Yeah. But it really just comes down to, like I said, like a milieu of all of the chemicals in the system, how they're affecting certain circuits. Like adrenaline's, because people think adrenaline is, just makes you like jump or whatever, makes you jumpy, but it actually like, improves your learning. It's very important for a lot of aspects of normal functioning.
No, that is a good point though. Like, because I know I'm one guy that suffers from anxiety a lot of time, and like when I suffer from anxiety, like a lot of my senses get heightened, and some of them like go down. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain like what kind of senses get amplified in that because I don't really like pay attention. Most of the time, it's kind of like all of them kind of shut down, and I just kind of am in a panic mode of like everything like is just like.
Yeah, it's not like we like perceive these things at like a physiological level when they're happening.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
definitely.
I do sometimes, but I'm a weirdo.
You just Jack's like having panic attacks. Like, okay, so my cortisol is high, and my dopamine is low.
Story of my life, actually.
So instead of it being like these are their own senses, it would just be more perceived as they either amplify or inhibit specific senses based on what it is.
Yep, I think that's what you meant. Like about like adrenaline and emotions.
Right, like what an emotion is just a given recipe of all of the varying levels of chemicals, but it's also not just the levels of chemicals, but it's also the amount of receptors. So like we don't just say like, a lot of like this is how you know it's bro science, right? Or a lot of people saying bro science. They say dopamine level. Right?
Trust me, bro.
That's bro science. Dopaminergic tone is what we focus on because you could have high dopamine, right? You could be black. You could be you could have just snorted cocaine. But if you're a cocaine addict, you have like 2 dopamine receptors. You know what I mean? So your dopaminergic tone is not very high. You're not a happy guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not about dopamine levels. You know what I mean? It's about ligand receptor interaction.
Yeah.
Like how much of that is happening.
Yeah, it's in retrospective to the person that's actually doing it. I mean, objectively speaking, somebody could be really sad but have low dopaminergic tone, right? Yep. But like they could have so much dopamine, be sad, and then somebody that has like a low amount of dopamine but has a ton of dopaminergic tone could be happy.
Yeah,
I mean, dopaminergic tone, like a high dopaminergic tone is gonna be you're typically gonna feel better. Like low dopaminergic tone.
So let's say like a guy is taking stuff to increase his dopamine levels,
yes, like Adderall, for example.
Yeah,
trend.
Yeah, something like that, like antidepressants, all that increases dopamine. Like, let's say like he took like 100 something milligrams out of nowhere and just took it. Like, do you think that's a kind of a reason why like his senses might be heightened, or like a lot of his interests die out because like a lot of he has too much dopamine going in at once?
Like if you took Adderall one time, you're not going to develop anhedonia. You're not going to start feeling like you can't get out of bed in the morning. Yeah. It's like prolonged. It's like once you're doing it every day for 3 weeks, then you start to get some receptor downregulation stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, though, we're going to go on a little break and then come back. Kiskin might have a question for us. He might not.
Yeah. Perfect.
Perfect. If he doesn't, that's fine. We have some senses that are out of this world, so we'll talk about those. And then, we'll keep going from there. Until then, please enjoy Part of Me by Noah Kahan. And we're back. Okay.
And we're back.
Okay.
Okay, this is not... okay, I'm not doing this.
Welcome back.
All right. No, wait. Welcome back. All right, Matt, you're going to go... Do you have a question for us?
Yeah, I got multiple. Don't worry, man.
Really? Multiple? How many is multiple? 2?
2.
Okay.
Okay. All right. First one. All right. Get
All
your,
right.
Get your ears ready.
All right.
At what point do we have to let go of or trust in our senses and believe in like other people? You know, so like for an example for this would be obviously optical illusions, right? You can't really trust your eyes there because there's like an illusion of I don't know, like a ball rotating or something.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point do you have to like distrust your senses and like let go of them and believe in something else?
I guess when they're like scrambled or whatever. I was thinking when you asked that, like more intoxication, not like looking at
just
optical
regular.
illusion.
Just regular senses. Not like intoxicating or anything. Just
You're talking about like trusting someone else's senses.
trusting like knowledge from experts. So like obviously your eyes.
So we're not talking about senses. We're talking about like information almost.
Can you trust your senses to give you the right information?
Okay.
Not always. And optical illusions are a great example.
Thanks.
Like there's a perfect example with a dress that it was like popular when I was younger, where is the dress like blue or black, or is the dress like gold and white? And people just stare at it, and I just hear everyone say all different colors, and it's just all a whole thing of just like if you put the dress in perspective, if you think it's outside, you see it as gold and white, and if you put the perspective of the dress inside the building, the dress looks blue and black. Now, the real color was blue and black, and some people had the thought of, oh, the dress is outside, they took a picture of it outside, and it's gold and white, and some people thought that this dress was a different color than it was because their senses were getting scrambled because of the illusion.
Well, I think a lot of that goes down to, because so many people were split on it, a lot of it's like individual variability with how, because, you've heard that everyone perceives color slightly differently. Like red for me is like slightly different for you. And like where I draw the line between one shade and another is different from where you draw the line.
There's like so there's apparently like I had someone to look it up, but like apparently like there's like 5% of the world sees peanut butter as green.
Well, I think that's just being like colorblind, right?
No, it's like I think so. I think it's like there's a certain level of being colorblind where like only that color you see as like a light green.
Well,
and only like a handful of people have
They've
that.
only ever had moldy peanut butter.
No.
They're getting that bad.
I mean, they live in one section of this earth. I don't know. But like what is colorblind, right? Like are people that see the regular colors is that considered colorblind like into a different extent to like the real nature of what color actually is?
Well, we have the full spectrum,
No, we don't. Shrimps actually can see colors we can't see.
Well, full spectrum for humans, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying there's a fuller spectrum that we humans have never seen of colors that only shrimp and like those kind of animals can see different colors we can't. And us humans we basically are like the second best of looking at colors of like different colors and everything. Like there's certain animals that have better hearing and better eyesight than us, and that's kind of like the traits that people kind of want almost, of like the ability to see colors we never seen before. Cause
do you know why that trait might have been valuable in our evolution?
No.
Well, we were hunter-gatherers, right? So when you're gathering stuff, why might it be important to distinguish one shade of color from another?
Predators that maybe use their like fur to like hide within objects. I don't know.
That could be it. But let's say we're gathering fruit, right? And like berries, for example, right? If they're not don't have that reddish hue, they don't have the caloric value we're looking for, right? They don't have the saccharides that we're looking for to support our bodies, our muscles, whatever, our brains. So we had to be able to see these different shades of color so that we could select ripe fruit. That was a large pathway by which these mechanisms evolved.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to think about how it's sort of different what objectively something is compared to when we put it through our senses, and how that could be like different. So like say well, you obviously see red as a certain color or differently. Everyone sees red as differently, right? That's like an obvious one. But then, you know, when you touch a table, right? So you can first see the table, and second you could touch the table. Now this goes through two different sensory outputs, but because it has to go through that kind of that sense, you don't know objectively what it actually is, because your brain could distinguish it as such, right? So like this table isn't, or I mean, objectively saying we don't know, like epistemologically saying we don't really know, but it could be white or white, as we know white, but because it goes through our eyes and it like goes through our brain or whatever, we don't actually really know what it is specifically saying.
Brings up a really good point, because believe it or not, we don't. It's not like the eyes are just windows to the outside world.
Yeah.
Like we take in data, which is converted, right, from electrical signals from our optic nerve, right, and then sent to our, parts of our brain, which then process this data to reconstruct the image. You know what I mean? So like the reality we live in, we do live in a simulation. You know what I mean? It's a simulation created by our own brain. That's the world we interact with. You don't interact with the world directly. It's through the simulation created by our brain.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to think about, especially like when you put in a concept of like your senses could be lying to you, like he said, like it being brown, but it could objectively be white. The table, like your senses could play tricks on you a lot of time. With like that's why there are a lot of optical illusions and all this stuff.
A lot of the optical illusions, I think they're based on some neuroscience research about pattern seeking of certain neurons that will sense like edges on things, and then ways that you can like desensitize these by like looking at this thing for a certain amount of time. It's like stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going to look at this thing that's spinning for this amount of time, and it's going to desensitize these neurons that pick up on sharp edges. So then you look away, and everything's all like, woozy, because those neurons have been basically burnt out, to the point where they can't fire as much anymore.
Yeah.
For a few seconds,
Yeah, going back to like how we're perceiving it, it kind of reminded me how when people have strokes, it's like they can't perceive the world around them. Or like, have you guys seen those photos where it's a photo of a room and you think you can tell what's in the room, but you can't because it's all like, I guess it's like AI generated or something.
That. Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah.
It's like name something in this photo, and it's like
you
don't
can
know what's going
almost
on.
name it. That's what it reminds me of, because it's like everything's kind of set askew so that it's kind of like how we can recognize faces. It's almost like that, I guess, how we perceive this data. We think that we can see something, and I guess that's probably why people kind of freak out before they have a stroke. They're like, man, what am I?
Yeah, they have like an existential crisis.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, but those pictures, it's interesting because they, like you said, they take advantage of some of these like pattern recognition circuitry things in our brain, but it's like just enough. Because it's not like we just threw a bunch of colors and random stuff on a page and it's like weird to us. That's just like random. But those images are specifically like weird to us because there's just barely something for us to recognize as maybe a pattern or maybe as something we've seen before can recognize. So it looks really weird to us, because we're like, is that like, it just looks, it scrambles us up.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah.
All right, sure. All right, with something that doesn't have any other senses, like sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, whatever, would we consider that to be human? And would that then make it so that, like, our senses do make us human?
I'm talking about, like, bacteria.
No.
I was thinking more like Johnny got his gun. You guys know what that is?
No.
It's the story about, I forget if it was World War I or II, but this kid steps on a landmine and he loses all of his senses, and it's just kind of about how he can't really perceive the world around him, but the world is still existing. and the only ways he can communicate are through like blinking and stuff like that. And it's just kind of this really warped, messed up perspective on the world where it's like, how do you live without sense, or are you even living without sense? So just kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, like are you alive? So like say you don't have any senses, right? Are you still able to like think and hear your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's a question of consciousness, right? Because consciousness has classically been defined as being able to is the processing of external stimuli, right? And so by this definition, like photosensitive bacteria are conscious in a way. They have some level of consciousness. So would this person be like if they lost all their senses completely? I don't know if they would have the same consciousness that me or you would have, because ultimately at the end of the day, I think consciousness is what it feels like to process data. Like that's how I view. That's what I think consciousness is, and I think if you aren't perceiving data, that experience of consciousness isn't there.
I think you're still human.
Yeah, you're definitely still human, but it's a question of are you conscious? Yeah.
I think you're still human if you don't know your senses. Is it like a life worth living with no senses? That's a kind of like really the question. Almost like are you technically almost still alive with no senses? And in my opinion, not really, because you're not feeling the pain you're feeling, and you're not like, for example, like people that don't feel pain. There's some people that have like a gene where they can't feel pain, heat, or cold. And like there's this woman that lived until she was like 36 with this disease, and their life expectancy is like way younger than that. And she lived so long, but the reason she died was because you know how you like lean like on your bones, but you know how you can lean in public for sometimes you gotta switch positions after you keep leaning one side because it starts hurting a little bit.
Like contrapostro.
Yeah. So what happened was she kept leaning on one side, and she didn't know it was hurting. So apparently what they said was that she kind of like her bones kind of broke down because she kept leaning on one side, never even noticed like the pain basically with all that.
I've heard stories about them like chewing inside of their mouth,
and
they just do it until there's a huge gaping hole.
Yeah.
In their side of their cheek.
That is crazy. Yeah. Imagine coming home and being like, "Hey son, how you doing?" Comes out with two mouths.
Right.
Well, it's just kind of like, so like in my opinion, if that was me, like I don't know if I would want to be like still around with like no senses and all that, because at that point you're just kind of like you're still human with a conscious, but you're not really like, you're not vocal, you can't hear, you can't see, you can't feel, you can't smell, you can't taste. So like kind of like what are you at that point? I feel like, and it's kind of like the whole moral aspect of it, of just being like, well, like what do we do with something like that?
Do you believe in doctor-assisted suicide?
You do believe in it, or like
I think I think it exists. I think
it does exist. Like, do you believe in it?
Do I believe
like, people should do it or not?
This is like way too, but in my opinion, like I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
I think
that's like a little too much.
Enlightened centrist.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was the dude that had no more senses anymore, if I was like born with them, then got them taken away, I would have been like, man, just pull the plug already, you know?
Yeah, I guess at that point you're just born without them, and just you don't really like. It's just kind of your life at that point. But like, if you had them and you lost like all of them, I don't know.
If smell is like really closely linked to memory, do you think you like lose like being able to remember stuff then at all? If you like lose your smell?
So you still remember what things smelt like. You just don't. I don't know if it affects your memory.
I would say it depends on whether the memories were connected to olfactory neurons. Like if the memories were associated with scent experiences, then yes. If not, then probably no.
Because there's some memories I have sometimes when I smell something, it brings me back to memory. It doesn't mean that memory's not there. It just means it kind of assists me to remember that memory.
Or it's just tied up.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I understand what you meant by that, but you know, I don't think it will affect your memory per se, but you never know.
Yeah, like I guess like for somebody that saw the JFK assassination, throwback to another episode, or if they're listening to this podcast, they might I guess they could remember what they were smelling and that could trigger it. Yeah. But I feel like it's more about the visual or auditory cues at that point.
Yeah.
But I feel like Matt has some data he wants to show us.
It's kind of cool. I just looked up. It says, smell is closely linked to memory, apparently. If this says loss of smell linked to Alzheimer's cognitive impairment and biomarkers, meaning it says decline in sense of smells connected to faster buildup of Alzheimer's disease related pathologically seen in brain scans, according to new research.
I'm assuming that happens because if you don't have smell, I guess you don't have I was talking about before how you remember certain memories from smell. I guess if you don't have smell, you can't really remember those memories constantly without that smell. So I guess you kind of will start having a semi-memory loss with certain things, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's just talking about how they do brain scans and stuff. But.
All right. Yeah, I think it's time to do what I wanted to do for a little bit now, which was the weird senses that people claim they have.
A sense that somebody's stalking you.
That is not real. They've done studies on that, and it's really funny. Because they ask the people, they're like, do you think you could sense if somebody's looking at you behind your back? And they're like, yes. And then they're doing this interview while they have somebody watching them.
Yeah, it's like confirmation bias. Every time you don't actually see them, or every time you do see someone staring at you, when you get this feeling, you're like, oh, I knew it.
And that's what you remember.
Yeah.
And then you don't really remember all the times where you're like, somebody's looking at me, and you don't find them. And you're like, oh, somebody's got to be looking at me. I just can't find them.
Yeah, so I think it's time. You guys ready for this?
I think so.
Yep. All right. Well, the first thing I'm going to go over is twins. And twins have apparently claim they have the ability to sense each other's pains and feelings and memories.
I mean, I imagine they probably have heightened sense of empathy with one another, which could contribute to that. Because that's powerful. You really can, if you're really, really, if your physiology is really synchronized with someone, which can happen, even with your pets and stuff, you can feel their pain to an extent. Some people more than others. Whether they're sensing through some, force field or something, I think it's probably just.
Well, it's like they say they have the same thoughts and memories too.
Right. I mean, you have to remember, identical twins, they have the same genome.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they're going to respond similarly to a given circumstance.
All right. Yeah. Well, there's a study in 1940 called the Jim twins.
1940.
Oh.
Wait, go on.
Well, it's not a study. I guess the study happened after 1979, but in 1940 there's two twins that were separated at birth, and it was because their mother couldn't, the father was gone and the mother couldn't take care of them, so she kind of gave them away to an orphanage. They both got separated at birth. So they never knew each other existed for 39 years. And funny enough, when they got separated, they both married the same woman with the same name. They both had dogs with the same names. They had children with the same names. They drove the same car. They had a hatred for spelling bees, but loved mathematics, and they both won the same careers. Mm-hmm. They never met each other before 1979. I mean, these are two twins, identical, that had the same everything based on their lives, same idea of what they named their kids, same ideas what they would name their dogs, same kind of interest and disinterest. So it's kind of an interesting thing where these twins never know each other, but they somehow still have a sense of connective, a connection where they can still have a connection of these things.
I think it's less about that they're connected and more about that their brains, neurologically speaking, are kind of built the same way, except then they're just grown up in different environments, right? They were just separated at birth. But then you have the genetic aspect, which then can, as seen probably, genetically speaking, they're more likely to name their dog whatever, or.
Yeah, I mean, the conclusion from that kind of draws from that is that it's all genetic, right? Because they share a genome, so many aspects of their life are shared, and therefore these aspects of your life can be tied down to what genes you have. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's also interesting to beg the question: where were they different? What differences did they have? And that would be mediated by
Their haircut.
and that would be mediated by the environment.
Yeah, culturally
And-
speaking, probably.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Haircuts.
Yeah, but they both loved math. They both had a desire for woodwork. They both drove the same exact car and brand.
Mm.
What kind of? It could have been a very popular car for the time too.
I can't say a Chevy. I think it's a Chevy.
And if I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, if the kids
What?
had
What do you mean you can't?
What do you mean? It's a Chevy.
No, it's like
I can't say it.
I don't know.
a
Chevy?
Chevrolet,
I
a
can't say
Chevrolet,
it. It's Ferrari.
a Chevrolet,
Chevrolet.
No,
Oh,
it's not just Chevy. It's like a Chevrolet. I don't know.
But like
Chevrolet. I don't know.
Chevrolet, yeah.
No,
Oh
Whatever,
no.
semantics.
maybe.
I
I
can't
don't
say
know.
it on the
Whatever. Yeah, I was just thinking like, what if the kids had very common names for the time? The wife is just a very plain-looking
Well,
woman.
no,
like,
because the names both were Betty. They both named their dogs Toy. They both named their sons Greg, and they both suffered migraines at, like, almost the same times. So, like, you're gonna tell me that these guys don't have a somewhat sense of connection?
well, that sense of connection. They have the same genome. That's why they're connected.
Yeah.
No,
They have the same.
They
genome.
have a
I don't think they have a
telepathic-
sense of each other
They
at
have
all.
a telepathic mindset where
Yeah.
they could touch each other's minds from.
Yeah, they're not like,
millions.
But we have it's not like they share a brain. It's like they literally have the same genome.
Oh yeah. What about people that are born connected to each other? Huh?
Yes, I mean,
Conjoined twins. Wow, they're really connected.
Yeah.
Joe told me to talk about those. So I was like, no, because they're already together. So it's like it's kind of the same sense almost.
They're like cheating, you know? They're too close.
Yeah, go up to them and say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You do an
Siamese
interview
twins.
with them, they just look over at the other ones.
No.
what are you gonna do? They cheat off each other in tests. It's
Yeah,
unfair.
so
You study for math. I'll study for English.
walk in, what are you gonna do? Put a divider?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm just saying, man. These guys had the same exact lives and the same exact
well, not same
hobbies,
exact, right?
pretty much.
similar.
Right, but but
Scary.
There are no
you have to admit,
differences
though, that
listed,
is
really.
weird that they all
yeah,
the
because they have the
things
same
happen.
genome, and that's the ultimate. Like the argument you're making.
No, but like not
is
even the
that
same
it's-
genome, but like married the same woman with the same name, the
Mm.
same name, the same kids the same name, named their dogs the same name, drove the same type of car and brand, went to the same type of career.
I think this is eventually going to happen for eventually something like this is going to happen. Just because it
Yeah.
happened earlier. I mean, obviously, it's like.
But we're talking about twins. I'm not talking about like.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm gonna know a guy maybe that has the same. My dog's
I think
name's
it's even-
Daisy. I might meet a guy that has his dog named Daisy and go in the same career as me.
my dog's name is Daisy. Actually, my
Oh, really?
rest in peace,
Oh.
Daisy.
Hey man.
Oh, so you
Good
guys
for
are
you,
twins
dude.
now.
What kind of dog
Yeah.
was it?
Puggle.
I had a pug.
No
It's
way,
his
really.
pug. Yeah.
Wait, and his name's Jack.
It-
Your name's Jack.
No way. I think we just cracked the case.
Well, Jack
No,
and
but-
me are separated at
we're-
birth.
Yeah, right.
I think it's actually less likely for probably two random people to have like the same exact life, but it's definitely more likely because the twins
But they're
obviously have.
twins, and they had.
This
It's,
helps my
Which is
Yes.
why it's much more likely.
but
yes.
do you see how this helps my case of just how twins are the future of bringing the X-Men to life?
The argument
What?
you're making, I don't know if you're making it, is like genetic.
Have you heard of the
determinism,
Wonder
essentially,
Twins?
Which like is true to an extent. You know
Have you
what I
heard of
mean?
the Wonder Twins? DC superheroes? No.
What, one
Nah,
can, like,
DC guy.
can one turn into like buckets and stuff, and the
One
other
turns
one,
so
the other one turns into
Oh.
animals.
so one turns
Yep.
into animals, the other one turns into air, water, and that's it, and ice.
Wow, one of them got the short end of the stick.
And the other one can turn into any
Yeah.
animal she wants.
Yeah, one of them has cool powers, and one of them can turn into animals.
Well, no, he can make
Great.
like a icicle cycle. You
Oh,
just, like,
awesome.
One wheel icicle cycle.
One of them pees, the other one rains. Great.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, so you guys agree that twins are psychic?
Nope, not at all.
No one
actually.
agreed with you. Get on with
Betty
it.
and Greg sound like very common names. I wouldn't be surprised if Toy was a common pet name in the 50s.
No.
Well, it's probably both. I mean, you can't just say, "Oh, it's just a coincidence," or "Oh, it's just genetics," or "Oh, it's just," you know what I mean? It's like
It's a combination.
there's a lot of factors, and like things happen. You know what I mean?
I'm saying, man,
Weird stuff happens.
psychics are real. And they're coming. What, Matt?
Huh?
What was that?
What was what?
He needed to release his psychic energy.
I wanted to like act like Greg Doucette for a second, but
God, don't get me started
All right.
with the cookbook.
Are these twins still kicking around, or
No,
are
they were born in They were born in 1940.
oh yeah, how are they separated?
Yeah, there's people that
How old would they be now? Look it them up. Look it up.
they'd be 80.
They'd be like 120.
They'd be 84.
They could be around still.
Yeah.
Dude, I watched a documentary on those twins
Really?
in my psychology class in high school. Yeah.
It's an interesting documentary.
Mm-hmm.
But the next one, empaths. You know what empaths are?
Yep.
I'm one.
Nope, have no clue.
I am one.
No, you're not.
Explain
Yeah,
it for the people at
I
home.
can literally sense that you're confused right now.
No, I'm not even confused. I'm just baffled.
That's all the same thing.
He's not confused. He's bewildered.
I'm not confused. I'm befuzzled.
I'm not sad, guys. I'm just upset.
I'm depressed.
I'm not angry. I'm just mad. So empaths are, for people that don't know, empaths are people that can sense other people's pain physically and sense their emotions like it's their own. Like basically like taking on their emotions and pain and putting on themselves and able to feel it and like connect with them to a deeper level. And they say that's like a sixth sense almost to like feel others.
I mean, I don't think it's a sixth sense. I think it's your nervous system being synchronized well with another person's. Because at the end of the day, we're extremely social creatures, right? We evolved in groups, and being able to pick up on the physiology of someone next to you is very, very important in our evolution.
Yeah.
And, so it's not really like a sixth sense per se, but more like an adaptive mechanism by which we synchronize our nervous systems with the social group around us. Yep.
I'd say if you've been through like at least some amount of pain in sort of like a variety of different ways, I think you could definitely become what is known as an empath.
Well, a lot of times it's just people being very empathetic.
Wait, just let me.
No, I'm saying, finish your saying.
But no, it's like if I like broke my arm before and I like see someone like breaking their arm like on I don't know, video or something. I already went through that experience, so I can literally remember, and my neurons can like remember like what happened.
Yeah.
Right? And then if you have like a sort of general basis of a pain scale, you can kind of feel like what everything feels like. But then you get to some certain sensations like stabbing or like being stung by like a bull ant. Like I have no degree of what that is, but I have a general degree of like what everything else is, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where you'd have sympathy rather than empathy, right? I think that's the difference. It's like, can you feel it? It's like, have you felt that before?
Yeah.
Do you know what that's like to feel that thing? If so, that would be considered empathy.
They also empaths claim they can sense spirits in the room. They can't talk to them or hear them, but they could sense them in the room.
I could feel one right now.
You just open the whole can of worms about spirits and the paranormal.
Long Island medium type stuff.
Well, going into our next one is actually mediums.
No.
And mediums claim that they can hear and talk to spirits as like a sixth sense. A good example is Tyler Henry, the Hollywood medium on TLC. And I think this guy's a joke.
Why are we talking about mediums when they're just smalls and larges? Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Body positivity.
But
really label people out here.
yeah, so what do you guys think of mediums in your opinion?
Oh, they're a good size. No. They like connect with like spirits, right?
Yeah, they claim they can hear and talk to spirits and communicate them like any other person.
No, there's been a bunch of debunks on these kind of people. They're just scammers out to like get people that are really hopeful to like see their mom or something.
People that are very in a bad place.
Yeah, like I'm a religious person. All these people are like, they're shams. I mean, you see them like they either talk to the person before or they just make guesses. So
Yeah, Howard Houdini, like the magician, he actually spent like majority of his career going around to these mediums and debunking them. That's not even a joke.
Wasn't his name Harry Houdini?
Yeah, sorry.
Howard,
his brother.
That's his
all
brother.
he did was belittle people.
His brother just has no sense of humor.
Sorry, I meant Henry. I know.
His brother with a much less interesting, successful career.
Henry
He's
Houdini.
like an accountant. He's like, my brother's an idiot.
No, but Henry Houdini, which people said he was like a demon because of all the tricks all the magic tricks he did that people to this day still don't know how to do. Like, he was like, that's not real, demons aren't real, blah, 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 things aren't real. And he went to mediums, and he went to a bunch, especially after his mother died, he went to a medium and tried to talk to this medium about his mother. What did I click? I don't know, never mind. Went to talk to this medium about his mother, and this medium was talking to him and wrote down basically what she said on a piece of paper, and he got mad because she couldn't speak fluent English. She can only speak German. And this medium was just trying to tell him like all these things in English, and he was like, she doesn't even know English. And basically after that, he made like basically the majority of his career just about going around debunking all these people. He wrote a whole book about one medium in New Orleans.
Kind of obsessed, huh?
Sounds like he had a lot of time on his hands outside of getting
and when
out.
just leave a Yelp review like the rest of us.
Before Houdini died, actually, him and his wife came up with a secret code word that when they died, they would go to a bunch of mediums afterwards and see if they would get the code word from him from beyond the grave. And she went to when he died, she went to go ask mediums for the code word, and none of them could get the code word at all. And basically, kind of really.
Yeah, I actually
took a tone.
I saw a bunch of videos. I actually looked up. I don't know, just randomly. I just saw a bunch of videos about like people being psychics and mediums or whatever. And there was like one where like the news reporter was like, "Oh, talking to a psychic or a medium," and then showed them like a picture of like a little girl like near a factory, and it's like, "Oh yeah, she died here," and then they were like, "Oh, look, her name is blah blah blah, whatever." I'm like to contact them from the other side, and then it's like, this picture was actually me when I was younger. How is he dead? And then they just walk away.
Well, this is the thing. Like, and I talked to my friend about this before the show. Like one of my friends, Amani, and I tried to talk to her about it, and she was like, "Well, there's some that actually are real," and I was like, "Well, if you can find me one that's real, great." Until then, I don't believe, because every medium I've heard about, like with these TV shows and from people's experience, are just a bunch of charlatans and liars. They just fabricate things. They get your information. Like some of these mediums make you write down information on a piece of paper before you see them about like the people you wanted to contact. Then they take the paper and then they just go with a lucky guess and they get it like almost like.
Or they like Google stuff about.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Before find their LinkedIn.
Yeah, exactly. Like looks up a bunch of stuff like that, and I just find it ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
One thing, like I really like. I love talking about like tons of different stuff, but one thing I just like totally avoid bringing up with people is like paranormal experiences and stuff like that, because people, because I'm like this, you know what I mean? I don't want to I'm going to be very critical of your story, but like you'll come across, if you bring it up with people, someone will have a story. I've been in this situation. They have stories, and they start, they spin the whole web. They're like, it was a dark and dreary night. Yeah, exactly.
Cold night on January 3rd.
Then they just go on and on. It's like, you can't really say anything because it's like an experience they had. You can't be like, well, it's this, and this. That's, that didn't happen. What you saw wasn't real for these reasons. Because ultimately, they're going to believe what they saw. And so there's nothing you could, and I can't really say like, oh, he saw a ghost. There must be ghosts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like just a very, very tough conversation that I don't. And
there's some people that just like, I saw a spirit when I woke up. It's like, well, there's like sleep paralysis, and there's also like different things like that where you just wake up and you're just so dazed, you just pretend like your brain plays tricks on you, pretend like they see something in the dark, and it's like these things aren't real. And if anyone that's listening on here or on the YouTube Lounging Around show on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're listening to this and you want to come on and try to like argue this, please come on if you really want to talk about your story. I'm down to listen. Jack is not.
I will not be here for that one.
But I have a ghost story. It's just really boring.
I don't want to hear it.
Exhibit A.
Not tonight.
Get out of here.
We'll talk we'll say about ghosts and spirits a different episode, and we'll bring Jack on for that.
Yeah.
Jack will be like, actually, that's your senses being heightened.
Now I want to have Jack on, and then someone that's like very spiritual, and then just have them like clash the entire
I'll be
time.
spiritual.
Kiss gonna play the part.
No, it's kind of weird how like people discredit other people's situations. Like, you personally probably have never seen a ghost, right?
Have you?
Yeah, many times. But like, have you seen Ohio?
What
Have
do
you
mean-
been there?
What do you mean Ohio? Like the
Ohio
state?
doesn't exist, man.
Or like Washington?
Have
like,
I have
you
I been to
there?
Washington?
But
yes.
you believe it exists, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
Are
I've
you
been
sure
there.
It's
you
not,
were there?
Not everything's
Yes.
about like, just what your experience is, right?
Well, no, exactly. Like that's the beauty of it. It's like opinions are opinions, and everyone's opinion apparently in this day and age is right. So you can't have like your opinion can't be right or like everyone has to have their right opinion. Like no one can be wrong, even though a lot of people's opinions are wrong majority of the time, and they just don't want to listen to facts.
Like umami.
Why are you touching my feet?
Yeah, whatever that means.
I'm talking to you.
Weird
All right,
question.
so like, why don't you believe in umami, right? Like that's what.
Well, umami's just fake. Anyways, we're gonna go on a break. We're going on a little break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about Jedi, and kind of like jump into the future, millions away in a far galaxy, whatever.
It actually happened in the past.
Okay.
Actually, it happened in a story.
Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Oh man. But
Man, I really want somebody else to like talk about their ghost stories, right? I just want to like
Yeah.
all right. We're
if
gonna,
they're not boring.
We'll talk about
Like a ghost like attacked.
We'll talk about ghost
no.
stories during the break. Okay, until then, enjoy All I Have by NF. And we're
Don't
back.
say anything.
Okay.
And we're back, guys. Welcome back to the Joe Heinz
And
Experience.
we're back. Welcome back.
Was I supposed to?
You say it.
Oh, and we're back.
And Joe?
And
And we have returned.
No.
And we're back online.
Okay, and we're back.
we're back.
Okay.
All right. What do you want to talk about with this Jedi?
So I
whatever,
was going to
space?
talk about what the Jedi stuff was about. So we're talking about before about basically this whole show has been about like six senses and how people have like more than five senses. I'm going a little crazy with it now. So we're kind of taking what I talked about and flipping it upside down. Now we're talking about Jedi. Now you know what Jedis are?
No.
Explain it.
Never heard of it.
Okay.
Context?
A Jedi is like a thing from Star Wars. It's kind of a myth, but basically what it is like this thing that can sense like the Force. Basically, can sense like everything around him, and kind of like can hear things from far away, can read things' minds, can like see from far away, can like do great feats with like jumping and all that, and like they're just like very like more in tune with their body and more in tune with their senses and have like a higher degree of their senses.
So like
than most.
superhumans.
Basically.
So like Jedis.
Oh,
like
so like Sith.
The guys
Yeah.
from Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like the
I
guys
get
from
it.
Star Wars. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Are you
That's
ripping-
that's
are
the
you
guys
ripping
from Star
something
Wars.
else?
Yes,
Oh.
that's what we're talking about. Yeah, Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars now. If anyone didn't know, basically, I want to say, I just want to wonder, mostly to Jack, because he's a science guy. Do you think there's a possibility of that ever happening?
I
in the
mean,
future?
listen. Some animals.
Because
do
I
have-
would love to be a Jedi one day and wield a lightsaber. You kidding me?
Oh yeah,
I
grow
mean,
up.
Some animals have super abilities, like some of the things we talked about. Some animals can jump really well.
Mhm.
Some animals can hear really well. Some animals can smell really well.
Mhm.
But it's like, is there a creature that's going to have all of these? To that extent, probably not. I don't think we're going to get to that level. Just because it's a balance, right? I mean, we only have so much space for brain. You know what I mean? And like I said, a lot of that brain is devoted to vision. And there's also like a limit to the extent, like jumping, for example. It's not like suddenly we're going to be able to produce a ton more. Even if we had some miracle drug that's going to like increase your explosive speed in your lower body by like 1,000-fold, you're still, at a certain point, you're not going to be able to do some of the things that would be. I mean, it's movie stuff,
All right, so like jumping very high, or
Mhm.
pushing a ton of strength. It all depends on like the amount of motor unit recruitment that you get within your muscles, which
Mhm.
also then depends on how many muscle fibers you actually recruit underneath like a certain amount of force. So like if you want to recruit more motor units, you need more muscle fibers, which you need then to be weighing more than and then you have to have a ton more food. It's just, I mean, why would we need to evolve?
Sure, and then
that,
like,
right?
how are you gonna be super fast then also if
Yo,
you're like huge? Right.
Guys, you know their selling point is levitating stuff, right?
Yeah, they can pick things up. And load it. But that's what I'm saying, man. Like, you're telling me I can't do that?
Try it.
Fortunately not.
Try it. Tell me.
Live on air.
No, but I just think it's interesting. I don't know. I don't ever think it would be a real thing, but I would just force joke me. But like, I think it'd be a very interesting thing to like see. You will stop talking now.
We will not talk about Star Wars anymore.
Hello there. But I don't know. It's very interesting to see kind of like what a world would kind of be like if there was Jedis.
I think they
You
made
know.
a movie about that. Maybe more than one.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think they actually made multiple shows.
No.
Baby Yoda.
All right, so if you had Jedi powers, like, what would you do though?
Oh, I don't know. Like, I'd probably be a hero.
I'd probably be a villain.
It's a good segment. I want everyone's opinion. So, do you think Jack will be a Sith or a Jedi?
Neutral.
There's gray Jedis.
Jack would be a Jedi, but he'd be very cynical about it.
I'm like the black-pilled Jedi.
This is the stuff the Empire doesn't want
No,
you to see.
I'm the Sith. I'm just like the most polite Sith ever.
No. Jack would be the librarian from Revenge of the Sith, the old lady, and just in there in the library, just trying to like learn all this stuff about midichlorians, which is cells in Star Wars
I
and
appreciate that.
everything. Like you just be trying to like learn so much to the point where you learn about the Sith artifacts, and get so fascinated, then you turn into a Sith.
Sounds about right.
So,
Yeah,
hey, what about Kiskin now?
Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's Sith for sure.
you'd be Darth Malice.
No.
You'd probably be Darth. I can't remember his name. Darth something. What?
Darth Maul.
No. What?
Oh, nothing.
Are you talking about the tall, gross dude from the new ones?
No, I'm talking about
you
no,
serious?
no. I'm not talking about Snoke. I'm talking about this guy from Legends, where he basically devours worlds and like kills whole worlds and like eats them.
Oh, thanks.
That's the Sith you'd be. You just go to planets, just kind of like wipe
He
them.
wishes, dude. The bulk would go
That's
crazy.
actually
that's
my
what I'm
first
saying,
thought when
because
I
he-
saw
Bro,
it.
get huge.
Finally.
No, he would try to get the ultimate bulk. That's what I was. That's you took the joke from me, and I was getting there.
So I'd say if I had like Sith powers, right? Are you able to like use them by like seeing someone? Like, say if I saw someone like through Zoom, like I'm able to like use my little force power.
You're talking about, like through like Google Meets.
Yeah,
You call him up on
No, you
Skype
can't.
just to kill him.
You can't do that. No,
Skype killer.
you kind of have to be there.
He just like comes up
Yeah.
with FaceTime.
He will be the one.
You like see him and talk to him, and he's
You'd be-
not there.
So you'd be Darth Skype.
No, basically like in class or something, right?
Yeah.
I would just like tickle random people, right?
No.
It's not weird.
Oh,
That's
It's like that's normal, right?
Darth Tickle. That's
like what are they gonna do? Be like someone's using the force on me?
they're like, guys, somebody's tickling me. He's like,
yeah.
what? Darth Tickle would never do something
Jack?
like that. Man.
I don't
You're
know what
bugging.
Jack's Darth name would be. I think he'd be Darth. I don't know.
Darth.
Darth Dork. Yes.
Has a ring to it.
Darth Dork, the reader of things.
That's you. That's you. That's honestly Jack. So we got Dark Dork, and then we have Darth Tickler. Now we're going to Joe. Would Joe be a Jedi or Sith?
I think Joe would be a Jedi.
He's a Jedi. Yeah, for sure.
Jedi.
I'm Jedi pilled, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. Jack. I mean, not Jack. Joe would probably be like that Jedi in the temple when Order 66 happens. He's like the Padawan. He just really tries, and then he's like the kid from Revenge of the Sith, where he's just like, "Oh, Anakin," and then he just
Master
activates his
Skywalker, what do we
lightsaber and
do?
then just cuts.
Nah, it wouldn't be the dude with the green tentacles on his head. He was my favorite as a
Oh,
kid.
Kid
Oh, yeah.
Fisto.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
awesome. Easily the best one.
He was one of the weakest Jedi.
All right,
he's
whatever.
ugly.
Shut up. I hate you all.
Okay.
Then
He wasn't that weak, but he just his lightsaber skill, which is Form 1, which is basic training lightsaber. He mastered that, and that's how he became the Jedi Council.
Nothing he
But,
does is gonna stop him from being ugly.
Anyways, because I've done extensive research on this stuff, and you don't know me. Am I a Jedi or Sith?
Jedi.
You're a Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
Yeah. What would I do?
are.
I don't know. Listen to music. Probably like go to Easter or something.
Darth College.
Darth, president of the wrestling club.
Darth Wrestle.
Darth Spandex. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just want a lightsaber. Really.
For what?
Just be kind of cool.
For what?
What would you use it for? Mowing your lawn,
Yeah, that would be cool.
filing taxes.
I would use it to pick like things out of my teeth. Really.
It's very smart.
Yeah. Like put it right up to your face and then just open it up. Yeah.
just see like a big hole in my mouth just for the lightsaber. Just
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, sick, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Nah, I'd probably like sit under a waterfall, have like my force power push it up and around me so that I could be like one with nature.
What
That
are you
sounds so
talking-
cheap.
Darth Nature over here.
Darth
you
nature.
think-
Darth.
You think if like everyone had like these Jedi powers, like society would like progress faster or like slower? Like
I
it'd be
think certain
anarchy?
aspects would like construction, like would pretty much be like really faster.
Sending all Jedis to work in New York City to
No.
build more skylines.
No, but I'm being
Finally.
But like if you're being honest, like if we like certain jobs, of course, would probably be like enhanced, like because certain Jedis have more abilities than others. Like some Jedis could read minds better, so like cops would probably be like in that field, like mind readers and
yeah.
stuff.
Dude,
Guys
imagine
that-
getting pulled over and it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. You are done.
He's just like, were you doing anything illegal? And you're like, no, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. What if? Oh, what if then the cops are like corrupted and they always lie about people doing illegal stuff? You know?
Okay, Matt, we're not going into this.
And then they set off Order 66 and then Star Wars happens.
The Men in Black thing. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh, they go, ching.
They give you a brain blast.
yep.
Get out of here, dude.
Yeah. No, I mean,
But I mean, I feel like it depends. Like, if someone got the Force, would it be like, oh, you have to, rich people buying it or whatever, or is it like people suddenly have it? Because if some like, some mentally disturbed person, that is unhoused, has the Force and whatever gets a is doing drugs and gets a bad batch of some whatever, and they whatever, and then they like they could wreak a lot more havoc than they would otherwise without the Force.
yeah.
So
And then there's another guy that was born with the Force, like had great potential. He's just out there building highways and parking garages.
Yep. Yeah, he's like doing art.
Yeah, he's like, this is just what I do.
Yeah,
I don't do anything crazy. It's kind of like
He's
me with
doing
the waterfall.
He's
I can
doing
respect
woodwork. We're like, dude, come on.
that. Come on, you got the lightsaber. You have to cut things at the very least.
There's just like He's like doing bonsai trees.
Yeah.
Come on.
What do you think Quinn would like? What do you think Quinn would be?
Oh, Quinn.
Yeah.
Quinn just. I don't know. He's just neutral, man.
Quinn's a Sith, dude.
Darth Graffiti.
Not funny.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. We kind of ran out of time a little bit too.
Oh yeah. What time is it?
It's 11:55.
Way past your bedtime.
Really?
Yeah.
It's almost league time for him.
It's time for me to cue another.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about what we talked?
I got one question.
Okay.
If you can heighten one of your senses specifically.
We talked about this before.
No, you said
basically.
which one's the strongest.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's spinning
Like
facts.
which one would you heighten? Like to like the point of like incredibility.
Touch.
Taste.
Hearing.
Taste. The heck are you gonna taste, man?
He's gonna be
Sits
like,
around-
wow, I can
you just get
finally
fat as
taste
hell.
umami. So it was real.
I would just be eating the best strawberries.
Bro's
all
600 pounds.
But think about it. I'd have the best
So
food
good.
But
all
like,
the time.
imagine if you heightened your scent and like you walk into a public bathroom. Dude, it would be over for you. I'm saying hearing would be the best like strategic.
Well, what if somebody
wise.
like clapped on you, like just clapped in your ear or something? Well, it's over,
Someone
man.
just speaks to you and you're like,
You're like, dude, keep it down. Well, you
no.
can wear like noise canceling headphones.
No, but
and then
that's why
just
you
be,
do
like,
taste, because all the other senses would be just too much. If you do taste, you'd be safe, man. Think about you have like every strawberry you'd have would be the best strawberry you ever had.
If you heightened touch, that would be horrible.
This guy's just hungry.
You heighten like smell. You go in like a computer science class. It's over, man.
You show up to a league match. But yeah, like
Who is that?
if you heighten touch, it's like somebody taps you, like, oh, dude.
It feels like you get punched all the time.
Ouch.
But that's why you taste. That's why you taste, because you don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. What if it's like too much?
What do you
if
mean?
you're like tasting too much? What's
No,
up?
You have
I
the
would be
blandest food on the planet.
Dude, I'd be tasting like, imagine this, like a beautiful strawberry, and it's the best
You
strawberry.
don't need to do the
But, like,
ASMR
imagine if
voice.
it's-
the
Liam,
best
Liam.
strawberry you've ever had.
Imagine if it's too much though.
No,
And
it's
then you have
not
to
too
have-
much.
But it doesn't. It doesn't.
It's
just,
not.
Bland
It
strawberries.
just be just right all the time.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It's making the sense stronger, right? So
Yes.
like, if something tastes bad, it's gonna taste even worse.
Yeah,
It's-
but then
it's
I
not
just
like,
then I taste something that's really good, and it
Wait.
makes it really
but
good.
something that's good also has bad things about it. So
What?
it's improving both extremities.
Okay,
right?
then what? What? Give me something that's good and bad.
Imagine if you had a ghost pepper on that.
Oh,
be
you don't
done.
have anything, do you? Oh, look
No.
at that. Because
What
then I'll
about,
just
like-
eat
what-
ice cream
What about
forever.
like crackers, right?
Then I'll just eat ice cream
Like,
forever.
you know that there's such a thing as like too salty, right? Like,
Yeah, dude, but I like salty food, so I'd be
Oh,
chilling,
alright,
man.
man.
I
Dude,
just,
you
I'll
would
just be
not
dr-
be chilling.
I'd just
You
be
would
drinking a
dying.
lot more water, and that's not bad.
maybe you evolve. Maybe you evolve too much, man.
No,
What if
you
something's like
guys are picking all these things and you complain about them. I'm just saying I can have the best food all the time,
What if something's
and I
super
can live
sweet?
my best life.
Super sweet, like
Super sweet is good.
super sour.
Super sour sounds amazing.
All right, let's get you ghost.
What
pepper,
about?
man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You'd be
Super
over.
spicy, not so much.
And imagine super umami.
Oh, dude, no. it's
Actually,
all
not. It'd just
fake.
be regular umami for you.
Super. But imagine super plain.
Super plain. I would be super bored.
Super plain, like tofu and water, man. It's
Water amplified. I feel like that's just like doing
Imagine
0 times
water
whatever.
water amplified.
That's like a Fiji ad.
Yeah.
I just heighten touch because like everything's touch, right? Like sense, like hearing is
What
touch.
are you talking?
The wind blows on you. You're like, please stop for the love of
No,
God.
but like think about it. Like if you do touch too, it's like you get smacked by wind all the time. What do you think is gonna happen to you, man?
Smacked by wind.
Dude, imagine
Yeah.
if you got
Where
hit
are
by
you
a car.
going?
If that, you get going to like shock.
No, but like imagine you get like kicked in the knee. You're gonna feel every kind of like if we did super touch, like you'd feel every single nerve in your knee getting hit.
If
You
you
think how
got kicked,
painful that is?
It depends on what you're into, man.
if you got kicked in your umami receptors down there, dude, you'd be done.
Yeah, I do super touch for like the weirder things.
What are you talking about? God. Dude,
Yeah,
no,
you guys are wondering why I said touch in the first place.
no, you just do super taste, dude. Trust me.
Dude, I don't
Trust
trust
me.
that process.
You don't understand the process. If you get super super taste like I do, you be like,
I can only think of three
Like
things.
I do. Do you have super? You're speaking like you
He's had
already
a
have.
lifetime of super taste. You guys wouldn't get.
you wouldn't understand.
I don't. He
He's like,
knows
dude, I just
the
love
good
ice
foods.
cream more than you do.
Yeah.
Like you just don't get it.
You don't understand. Like I can eat something, man, and be so happy with it because I have such a super taste.
Yeah, it's not super taste. It's
Nah.
like super content.
Super sadness.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, super hearing, cover that up. You're set. Just put in like headphones to control how much you hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we're all out of time right now. Anything you guys want to say about anything we talked about, Jack?
No, it was a great chat. I was thanks for having me. Of
course.
I hope to be back on at some point.
You'll
in
be
the future.
back after break.
Cool.
Yep. And then Matt, anything you want to say?
Umami's real.
Okay. Whatever. Joe.
I hope everyone enjoys the awesome opening and outro to
Mhm.
this video that I'm gonna edit later. Credits
Yep.
go to James Harold.
And then anything you guys want to say about me?
Liam, I hate you. I don't like you. Move
okay.
out of my room.
Great.
Umami's real.
All right.
Your glasses are all right.
Oh, thanks. Just a bunch of like half compliments and insults.
Yeah, you're all right. Like here and there.
You're alright,
good.
I guess.
Your
Umami
glasses
non-believer.
Your glasses are half bad,
Yeah.
but are also half good. Oh, thanks. All right. Well, we'll be back Wednesday, 10 to midnight. The video will be out. Well, this video will be out the Monday after we do this, or like Wednesday. I don't know. Joe does all that stuff.
Every Monday and Friday,
Yep.
you will get a new experience.
Yep. And then Matt will be here all the time,
Heyo.
and that's great. And then Jack's gonna be here when we need a science guy, and then Joe's always here. But until then, hope everyone has a nice night. Thank you all for listening. Goodbye.
Good night.
Just some good night.
Right there, mate. You're listening to the Lounge Around podcast. Stick around for more.